Are you going to?
No, no,
Um,
you start, then he will take over. Please go ahead.
Okay. We start off with business need management. Before we start the project, we actually have a business case prepared and benefit management plan. And there are project success measures that are identified, which are cost benefit analysis, NPV, ROI, payback period, and rate of rate of return. I think we have mentioned that. And once our business case is approved, then we create project charter, and after that we hire the project manager, and then we move into stakeholder management, where we identify stakeholders, create a stakeholder register, and we have the stakeholder representation models, this PNI matrix, salience model, and cube model. We create a stakeholder engagement plan, and for doing this, we have the stakeholder engagement matrix, where we identify where are the current state of our stakeholders and how we desire them to be engaged with our project. So 4 different stages of stakeholder engagement are unaware, resistant, supportive, and leading. From the stakeholder engagement plan, it's a part of managing stakeholders, and then we monitor and control stakeholders. Moving on to communications management, we didn't mention a lot about this, but managing communications, basically managed communications is like the post office of the project. Um, we monitor and control communications, and there are different communication models, 7 C's of communication, sender and receiver, 4R of communications, which is right time, to give people the right information at the right time to the right people for the right impact. And we have this managed communications process, which is basically creating, collecting, distributing, storing, retrieving, and disposition. Uh, in the team, in order to make decisions, we have group decision techniques, which is voting, autocratic, and multi-criteria decision making. Um, can you take over?
Yeah, please, Vignesh, start.
yeah, it's quite small. Can you just adjust it, Ashira? Uh, I can see now only the project type. Can you go to the left where you stop? Mm, I can't see it here. I will start from the resource management. Can you just bring it to the resource management? Yeah. Yeah. Then yeah. Okay. Fine. I can start from there. Yeah. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yeah, I can go ahead,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. Yeah. So the resource management plan, here we have the set of steps and approach where we first estimate the resource. So what is the resource requirement? What is the need of the resource? What is the resource estimation we have to do first? Then once we estimate the resource, then we will start acquiring the resources. Okay. And then the next step is we will start developing the resource like trainings, skill development, and all those activities. Then we will go with the manage the resource. So here we will be involving this emotional intelligence and other interpersonal skills will be involved by the project manager. Here he will be a servant leader where he will be more focused, first aware about himself and taking care of his team members, and then manage the resource. Then finally he will be controlling the resource. Okay, so these are the major steps in the resource management plan. And during the resource management plan, we do the team charter, which is nothing but goals and norms which we set for the team. And then we will be preparing the responsibility assignment matrix, like which team member, what he has to do, what is his roles and responsibilities, that will be covered in the RASI chart. And then also we talk about the types of resources, because it's a resource, not only the human resource, it also the material resources, which talks about the manpower, money, machinery, and materials. Then very interesting topic, which is about the stages of the team, where we more focus on the Tuckman ladder, where we say this team starts at the forming stage, then it will be a storming stage, then the norming, performing, and adjourning. Okay, so this will be there. And then the tools and techniques, mainly when we are dealing with the resource, we have to mainly focus on the emotional intelligence. This is the base for a, what to say, a servant leader, emotional intelligence. Then we also deal with the conflict management. In the conflict management, we talks about the different stages of the conflict management. Then we focus on the co-location and the influencing of the team members. So these are all more about the resource management. Bashira, can you bring down to the project before going to the risk? I will also touch base on the project types. Okay, so here we talks about the project types. We have the agile, predictive, iterative, incremental, and the hybrid approach. In the agile, we mainly first start with the product vision. Okay, so what product we are going to build, then the roadmap will be designed and developed for this particular product vision, and then we will have the releases. There will be multiple releases for every product roadmap. Then for each release, then we will start putting the product backlog. Product backlog is basically the work we will be doing it. So this product backlog will have the user stories, and these user stories will have the story points. The story points is nothing but the estimation techniques what we do in the product backlog for each user stories. Sorry, the story points will be the story point inside the user stories. We will be doing the different estimation techniques, like for example the story points, planning poker, all these things to estimate the user stories. Then the team, the product backlog will be prepared by the product owner, and then we will be doing the sprint backlog, where we will say the team will do the sprint backlog. They will choose what the work they want to do. Okay, and then comes the story points, which we talks about the effort estimation technique. And velocity is very important thing. Like the team will choose what are the user stories and what is the effort need to complete these user stories. This consolidate comes the velocity. And then below we have certain important roles in the agile project, which is the product owner. He is the voice of the customer, and he will be directly interacting with the customer to get all the requirements for building the product. Then comes the scrum master. He is will be a servant leader who will be taking care of the team development, and he is mainly focus on removing the obstacles, and also the impedance and all these things. Then there comes the development team. They will be working in terms of the deliverables. So these are the three major roles in the agile. Then comes the 5 events. One is the daily stand-up, where the team will get together and look on the status of their sprints. Then the sprint planning. Then comes the sprint review, where all the stakeholders, customers, SMEs, and the team, they will be together to review the sprint. It's nothing but the demo. And finally is the retrospective, where the continuous improvement is the focus, where the team will stay together to see how what is the any issues happen, how we can improve better for the other sprints. All these activities and events will happen here in the 5 event the retrospective. Then we also talk about the information radiator, which is very, very important in the agile project, where we talk about the Kanban boards, task boards, burn down chart, burn up charts. So these are all the main information radiators in the agile project. I will discuss still risk management, and then probably someone can take over from here. Risk management here, the risk is nothing but the probability into the impact. So here we will have the set of approach to handle this risk management. First is the risk management plan, how the risk can be handled in a project, that the whole comprehensive document which talks about how handling of the risk. Then the second important step is the identifying the risk in the projects. So the team will be involved in identifying the risk and the prioritizing the risk. And then comes the perform quantitative analysis, and also the quality, first the qualitative analysis and then the quantitative analysis of the risk. Then comes the plan risk response. This is very, very important, how the risk can be handled. That planning is very, very important in when we are doing the risk management. Then implementing the risk response. When we are implementing the risk response, there will be some residual risk, or maybe it will also go for secondary risk. And then finally we will do the monitor risk. And also one important point I left is risk has the two things. One is the positive and also the negative. The positive is nothing but the opportunity, and the negative is nothing about the threat. Okay. Some of the tools and techniques which we'll be using in the risk management is like a Monte Carlo method, fishbone diagram, sensitivity analysis. These are some of the tools and techniques which will be handled in the risk management. So maybe I will hand it over to Nabil. Nabil, you are there?
Nabil, can you do that? Who else isn't in your team if Nabil is not here?
Maybe
Okay, should I go ahead?
Yeah,
Sure.
please go ahead.
Yeah. So the next part here comes is quality management, which includes planning of quality, managing quality, and controlling quality. So the tools and techniques are fishbone diagrams, sampling techniques, attributes, audits, checklist, 80-20 diagram or Pareto chart, scatter diagram, and so on. It also includes quality metrics, agreed deliverable, and validating the scope. So can you take a little bit right, Bashira? Thank you. The other part includes procurement management plan. So in procurement management, plan procurement management, first we analyze whether we need to make or buy, select contract type, source selection criteria, procurement SAW, that is procurement statement of work. Then we conduct the procurement, that is advertising the opportunity, floating the RFQs, request for quotations. Then come bidder conferences, shortlist sellers or vendors, negotiation, select seller, agreement with seller, product delivery, and so on. Then comes controlling procurement, inspection or audit, dispute conflicts, resolve conflict, close procurement, update documents, send procurement to close the project phase. Take right. Yeah. Yeah. Then comes baseline, which is like scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. So scope includes requirement management plan, requirement document, requirement traceability matrix, scope statement, create WBS, then decomposition, and is like control account, then planning package, work package, and then WBS and dictionary included. Then scope is validated and controlled. So in short, we can say that scope baseline includes project scope statement, WBS dictionary, and work package. Then schedule baseline includes plan, schedule management, define activities, sequence activities, project schedule, network diagram, estimate the duration. So duration estimates and basis of estimates are included. Then develop schedule, that is schedule baseline, and then control schedule. Yeah. Under cost, it is cost management plan, cost baseline, activity cost, work package, control account, and contingency reserve. Project budget, which is summation of management reserve plus cost baseline. Estimate budget, and the parameters are EV, on value management, that is PV, AC, on value, EV, EAC, BAC, ETC. Then schedule performance index, cost performance index, TCPI. These are the indexes. Yeah. Can someone take over? Soumya?
Yeah, I can go ahead. So we have integration, and integration, we have the approved project charter, then all the 4 baselines are there. Then we have the project management plan is approved. And once the project management plan is approved, we start working. And when we work, we produce the deliverable. And once we produce, there we produce the work performance data, and issue log is also there. Then we have the lesson learned and the change management plan, and a configuration management plan is also there. Then we have the closing. In the closing, we have the lesson learned register and final reports. And then the lesson learned register is transferred to the lesson learned repository, and then we have the celebration.
Okay, so this completes team 1. Well done, team 1. So round of applause for team 1. Okay, let's start with team 2, please. And team 2, please note that 15-minute was given and they completed in 15 minutes. Try to do the same. Who made for team 2? Arvind, who was making in your team? Team 2, who was making?
I think it was our
Team 2, sir, I was in Bashira's team, sir. Bashira Sheikh's
Okay, so
team 2, it was.
one team was this. Okay, Vinay, why don't you say, brother? Okay, Vinay, who is going to speak in your team? You yourself? Go ahead, Vinay. Please start.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Please go.
Yeah. So we will start with the PMA triangle, people, process, and business environment. This is the basis for PMA. Then we will start with organizations. We have functional organization, project-based organization, and metric organization. In metric organization, we have strong and weak balance verticals. Next one is business environment. In business environment, we have portfolio, programs, project, and or phases, and operations. If we have a requirement, first we will do the need assessment. From that need assessment, we will make a business case. Then from the business case, we will identify the benefits and benefit management plan. That benefits can be tangible or intangible. Then we will go for the financial or non-financial benefits, then IR, NPV, ROE, or payback or opportunity cost. Then based on the business case, we will make a project charter, and project manager will be appointed. And as per the PMA, the servant leadership is the ideal leadership style for a project manager. After making project charter, the project manager will identify stakeholders. Then according to the power analytics matrix, we will make a stakeholder register. Then we will categorize and prioritize stakeholders. Then stakeholder engagement matrix, manage stakeholders and monitor stakeholders. If you are during any of this process, if we are identifying any new stakeholders, we will again update the stakeholder register and the process will continue. Then an important part for a project manager is 90% of job is to communicate. So first we will make communication management plan. And when we are making a communication management plan, we have four, like it should be 4R and the 7 C's are there. Then we need to manage communication, then monitor the communication. Somebody else will take over.
You give the mic to someone, point someone from your team.
Yes.
Yeah, who else was from batch 12 in your team?
Adil?
Adil, please go ahead.
Yes, sir, I'll take care.
Okay.
But my internet is making some issues, so if I got disconnected, then I apologize. Then I'll move from. Can you just zoom to the scope a little bit so that I can see? That's it. Yes. After making the communication management plan, we'll move toward the scope. For scope, we need to have a scope management plan first. For this, we need to collect all the requirements that are necessary for the project. Then, using those requirements, we will define the scope using a refinement process in which we will use a different kind of analysis technique like Moscow value analysis. And on the basis of this, the project scope statement will be developed. And on the basis of this project scope statement, we will make work breakdown structures. And with the help of these work breakdown structures, we'll make scope baseline. And on the basis of the scope baseline, we'll validate and control the scope. And after that, I'll be moving towards schedule. We need to make first of all, we need to make a schedule management plan so that we come to know like how we are going to manage each and everything at what point in time. We will define various scheduling activities and various sequences of activities that will be followed in this schedule. And then we'll estimate activities duration. And on the basis of these duration, we will develop the schedule. And then after development, we'll control these schedules. Then moving towards the cost part, first of all, we'll have cost management plan. And on the basis of this cost management plan, we'll be able to estimate the cost. And once this cost is estimated, that will give us the cost baseline. On the basis of this cost baseline, we'll be able to determine the budget of the overall project. And at the end, we need to control the cost that will be incurring within the project during execution. Then will be the resources. Within the resources, first of all, we need to have a resource management plan. We need to estimate the activities that these resources will be performing. And then we once we have estimated the required resources, either in the form of like manpower or any physical resource, we'll acquire these resources. Then we will develop our team, and then we'll start managing the team. During this development, we'll be using various kind of tools and techniques and matrices in order to manage these team members and make the team work according to the plan. Then within the procurement, we first make a decision of make or buy. Once we are done with the decision, then we make a procurement management plan. And once the plan is made, we actually do the procurement part. Within this, we have got multiple further steps, including bidding and various kind of meeting with the suppliers and other stuffs related to the product quality that we needed. And once we conduct the procurement, we basically control this procurement management process. Afterwards, I'll be moving towards quality. Once the products are acquired and or the deliverables are ready, then we need to counter check the quality along with the production as well as after the completion of the project. Quality it will include the quality management plan, according to which each and every step's quality will be measured and controlled. And then we'll managing the quality alongside with the project execution. At the end is the control quality that will be sidewise along with the project execution and along with each step of the project as we move forward into the project. And then there is risk. In the risk, we have first we have risk management plan. Yes. Then within this risk management plan, we basically identify the risk. Once we have identified, we make a register for all these risks, and we make a risk report along out of these risks. Then we perform various kind of analysis in order to categorize the level of these risks, like quality analysis, quantity analysis, and then we plan the responses for these risks. Once we plan the risk response, then we have to implement those risk responses. And overall, that we in this whole process, we'll be continuously monitoring the risk process. And at the end,
Ishwari or Jagan can take over.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll start with integration. So integration will first develop the project charter, then we'll develop the project management plan, then we'll direct and manage the project work, then we'll manage the project knowledge, then the next step will be monitor and control the project work, perform the integrated change control, and then we'll close the project. Moving on, next is we come to the agile part. So agile will start off with the life cycle. So predictive and adaptive life cycle. So agile product backlog, sprint backlog, sprint planning, sprint daily stand-up, sprint review or demo, sprint retrospective, backlog refinement, MVP releases. Then we'll go to the product owner development team, and then the Scrum Master. That's it.
Can you guys describe Agile in a little bit detail? That is a very high level summary of Agile. Don't you think, team 2?
Sir,
Yes.
due to some shortage of time, we have
No,
just tried to
there
give it an overview.
There was no shortage of time, brother. We have 1 hour and 30 minutes. Other team had the same.
Sir,
Okay, Vinay, can you explain this further, Agile?
Yes. We have life cycle for executing a project. We have to define what is the life cycle we are going for, like predictive or adaptive. In adaptive we have agile methodology. So if under agile we have XP, Kanban, different types are there. In agile, Scrum is there. So the basic there will be under agile there will be roles like product owner will be there, development team will be there, Scrum master is there. Product owner will be the one who's voice of customer, and development team will be the technical team who's developing the work. There will be 3 to 9 people, and there will be a Scrum master who is a servant leader. And the customer requirement will be based on user stories. User stories will be based on 3 C's. It will be on a card. Then based on the user stories, we will make a product backlog. Then we will do a backlog refinement. Then we will make a sprint backlog. Then according to sprint backlog, we will the development team will do a sprint planning. Then accordingly, they will do a sprint. In sprint, we have 3 events like daily stand-up, sprint retrospective, daily stand-up, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. Daily stand-up will be the first thing. Sprint 3 questions will be asked, and it will be 15 minutes duration. And at the end of the sprint, the sprint team will invite the customer and product owner. Then they will do a sprint review, and it will be based on the definition of done. Then if the minimum viable product is acceptable, it will be released. Then after the completion of that one, the team will do the sprint retrospective. There they will evaluate what they have done, what they could have done. There was any improvements required, so they will
Thank you.
adopt accordingly.
Thank you, Vinay. Now, this was a very good description that Vinay gave. Guys, many people are thinking that for PMP exam, you need to know a lot of Agile. I strongly disagree. In the current pattern of PMP, if you understand the mindset, and mindset is more of those 4 values, how those things can, and the things that he has written in Agile, what is in the product backlog, how do you prioritize the product backlog, what is sprint backlog, how do you assign story points, 3 techniques of that, what happened in sprint planning, what is the sprint 1 to 4 week duration, what happened in daily stand-up, those information radiator, burn up, burn down, Kanban, task board, sprint review, how do you basically product backlog is refined, sprint retrospective, the 5 stages of sprint retrospective, release of MVP, and that's enough Agile. Well done, team 2. Well done. Round of applause for team 2. Team 3. Yes. So who was making in your team?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. Just give me 1 second. So. Okay, so I will start and then someone can take over. Oops, I'm sorry. So we start with initiation where we have, I'm sorry, my son is here, sorry.
No, go ahead,
So
go ahead. No issue, go ahead. This is the work from home beauty. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so we start with initiation and then we have needs assessment, and from needs assessment we make business documents. Business documents are business case and benefit management plan. Again, business case is divided into business need and cost benefit plan. Okay, so once the business document is approved, we create a project charter, and once the project charter is approved, we assign a PM. We identify the stakeholders, and then we create a stakeholder register, and then we create a stakeholder register, and then we rank the stakeholder. So this is part of initiation. Again, ranking the stakeholder is based on the power interest grid, the salience model, and the stakeholder cube. We come to planning, where we have create scope management plan. So for scope management plan, we collect the requirements first. Requirements are then put into requirements documentation and requirements traceability metrics. And then we put a scope filter. We use the Moscow with the product analysis and Kano model. And then from there, we define scope. We have a project scope statement. And then from there we have a work breakdown structure, and the work package is breaking down into work breakdown structure, and then we have a work breakdown structure dictionary. With that, we have a scope baseline. Moving on, we have plan schedule management, where we define the activities, we sequence the activities. Defining activities, we get the activity list. After sequencing activities, we create a network diagram. Then we estimate the resource and activities. We estimate the activity duration, we develop schedule, and then that gives us schedule baseline. Coming to plan cost management, we estimate the cost, we determine the budget, and that gives us the plan cost baseline. Can someone take over, Atur or Atif?
Atif, please take over. Atif?
Oh, you want me to do?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it's the badge. Okay. Here we are on stakeholder engagement plan. So stakeholder management plan will include the stakeholder engagement metrics, current and desired engagement level we will check, and the communication management plan will have the 4 R's, type of communication method, and models, 7 C's of the communication, and medium of the communication will determine. And the quality management plan should have, it includes the quality, cost of quality, which is cost of conformance and non-conformance. Conformance includes prevention cost and appraisal cost, and non-conformance includes internal and external failure costs. So it is also quality assurance versus quality control benchmarking. So procurement management plan, it's you make by decision, and then risk management plan will tell you identify risk and put in risk register. So you will put all the risks in the registers and identify them. Then we'll come to the execution. So from the execution, we'll do the direct and manage project work, manage project knowledge, manage quality. So we'll make the cause and effect diagram, all these tools we will use, histogram, Pareto chart, scatter diagram, flow chart, and the managed stakeholder will be like, we will identify them with the different tools, urgency, resistance, neutral, lead support, power interest metrics, update stakeholder register according to that. So acquire development team manage resources. So we'll have XYZ theory, McLean, and then McGraw. These are always hard for me. So McGraw and Maslow theory, Herzberg motivation theory, expectancy theory. So we'll apply all those theories and check to increase the performance of the team. We will use all those things. Implement risk responses. So manage conflict. How we'll manage all the conflicts within the team. The risks are how we deal with the risk is avoid, will avoid, mitigate, transfer, accept, passive or active, enhance, exploit, share, and escalate, depending on the positive and negative risks. So conduct procurement. When we do that, we have a bidder conference for that. We identify the contract, which contract will be suitable for that. And then it's the different type of contracts, FFP, FPIC, FPIF, FPEA, CPP, and time and material, supplier selection source. So then we will go to monitoring and controlling. Anybody want to take over? They can. I can go.
No,
So,
you give it to another team member. You appoint.
yeah.
Who else was in your team?
I don't know much names.
Arvind, you were in batch 2? No, Arvind was in Bashira. Who else was in batch 3? Sue, who else was in your team?
I know Atur and someone.
Atur?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Atur,
Yeah.
Atur, are you with us?
Atur is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not good at the explaining. That's why I'm not.
No, no, you are very good. Go ahead, please.
Okay, monitor and controlling. The monitor and controlling work, then perform integrated change control, validate scope and control scope, control schedule, control cost, control quality. We have like checklist, check sheet, monitor communications. We have like planned versus actual, and monitor risk. We have control procurement, product deliver, inspection, audit, procurement control, handle disputes, monitor stakeholder engagement. And closing, close project or phase, lesson learned, update project documents. In the Agile, okay, we have like Scrum, Kanban, and XP. The Scrum has like three roles: Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Development Team. We have in Kanban, we have like, actually that's a task board. We have a burn up chart, burn down chart, and in Kanban we have WIP, work in progress. In the XP, we have like pair programming. Then 3 events: sprint, sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Okay, 3 artifacts generates from the Agile: product backlog, sprint backlog, product increment. Okay, Scrum ceremonies. There's a backlog refinement, sprint planning meeting, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Okay, estimations. Estimations tools are affinity estimation, t-shirt sizing, Fibonacci series, planning brokers, consensus, 100 points estimation, Delphi technique. Is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
That's all I have.
Yeah. Okay. So, Agile, and anything about XP, anyone can explain me from your team? You still have 5 minutes. Okay. Anyone from your team can explain Agile in a little bit overview from your team? Shu, can you explain it? Or better, Atif, can you explain the Agile in 4 or 5 minutes, the entire one? Atif Bhatt?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, explain Agile, the entire Agile flow and the mindset behind Agile.
Okay, so Agile is the bigger umbrella which covers the Scrum, Kanban, XP. So I will go through the Scrum. So Scrum is, it has 3 roles. So the roles are a product owner who own the voice of customer, set the vision and set the priority. So the Scrum Master, who is the leader, serving leader. So, and then the developers. So the developers are their knowledge, capability, and quality, and their role is the risk management, quality management, and task assignment. So then we have Scrum's 5 events. So 5 events are sprint. Sprint is fixed duration, 2 to 4 weeks, contains of events. So then we have sprint planning. Sprint planning includes sprint backlog, plan how how work will be committed, a sprint and sprint planning meeting. So daily Scrum then, so which is replan every day you do the daily Scrums. That's backlog refinement you do in that, and get backlog ready. So sprint review, then we do the sprint review, which is a product increment, and we check the velocity and get the feedback. Then we do the retrospective, which is Kaizen, is the practice of that. So Scrum, there are 3 artifacts of the Scrum. So product backlog, product backlog is the product goal, which is the vision and priority. It's the whole thing, the whole product. Everything we have there is the vision. So the sprint backlog is sprint goal, known work, and capacity. So the product increment, so definition of done, sum of completed work, and value. I guess, did I cover everything or not yet?
Good. It was a good. Thank you.
So okay.
Thank you, team. Let's have a round of applause for team 3. Okay, guys. So this was a very good activity, and this ends to the batch 12 unofficially. So officially it will be end when all the students have cleared the entire. Okay. So before moving forward, okay, Bio, you can go. So before moving forward, let me share the roadmap which you guys need to follow. Then I will be working with you along the way. Like let's discuss the entire roadmap that we are going to work. I'm gonna assign you a weekly task, and it will be according to your own time, how much time you can give, what are the things you can do in 1 week, and so on. Okay, so let me just stop the recording.